This news update is brought to you by
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Your happiness will be connect to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow.
It's Thursday, November the 12th, 2015, and this is your Barbados Today morning news update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. We begin with news that the controversial pending sale of Banks Holdings Limited cannot go ahead, at least for today. One of the bidders, Trinidadian conglomerate Ansa McCall, had been granted an interim court injunction that should have ended yesterday. But when the parties to the case met before Chief Justice Sir Marson Gibson yesterday, Trinidadian attorney for Ansa McCall, Reginald Amor QC, successfully argued for an extension of the injunction at least for one more day. As a result, the Chief Justice adjourned the matter until today when attorney for Banks Holdings, Barry Gale QC, will respond along with other interested parties. Now, the injunction had been effectively halted all trading of BHL shares on the Barbados Stock Exchange or otherwise until yesterday. It would have also allowed Ansa McCall to fight an early agreement between BHL and the other bidder, the St. Lucia registered SLU Beverages, which along with Ansa are in a hostile bidding war for total ownership of BHL. Shareholder and prominent chartered accountant Douglas Skeet says shareholders are anxiously awaiting today's outcome.
If there's clarity from the court, I would say that it would have been worth waiting the extra week. And if only that we can get clarity from the court on this matter to do with the loan and the terms attached, and the fact that there were aspects of that loan that were not made known to the shareholders at the time the loan was negotiated. And if the court can give us clarity on that, then I think we're in a better position. In the future, when similar situations occur, then the directors will recognize that they have a duty, a right and duty, to inform shareholders totally of all information.
Firearm use in Barbados has reached a crisis stage, and as a result, the murder rate for 2015 is already on track to be the highest in the country in the last 5 years. Those are the findings of the latest homicide study revealed yesterday by Criminal Justice Research and Planning Unit of the Ministry of Home Affairs. Senior Research Officer Kim Ramsey disclosed that despite a recent slew of killings, the number of homicides had actually fallen over the past 5 years.
We had 32 murders in 2010. These are actual numbers, not percentages. We have 32 murders in 2010, then we dropped to 30, 22, 25, 21. So we've been having decreases over the past 5 years. Now, currently in Barbados, as of today's date, we've had 27 murders. So we will see an increase in homicides when the total tally is made at the end of the year. So these graphs will show an increase. But as I said, related to this particular study, we've had a decrease in homicides. It's also important to note that of the 27 murders that we had this year, approximately 16 or so were with a firearm. 16 or 17, I can't remember the exact figure, but more than half of the homicides this year so far were with a firearm. So we, as I said, we are at a crisis stage as it relates to homicides.
Ramsey also says she was told by a prisoner at Dawes that it was easier for him to get a gun than a job. The Royal Barbados Police Force was plunged into shock yesterday at the passing of one of its high-ranking officers. Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police responsible for crime management and investigations, Lionel Mark Thompson, died yesterday in Colombia, South America, after undergoing a heart surgery. ACP Thompson, 53, who had been ailing for some time, was one of the two senior police officers touted to be the next Commissioner of Police. He joined the force on March the 2nd, 1981, and during his 34-year career served in various management positions, including head of the Bridgetown Division. A statement from the Office of the Commissioner of Police expressed deepest and heartfelt sympathy to his wife, children, and extended family. In sports, the Windies finally pulled off a win against Sri Lanka, and it came at the end of the tour yesterday. Dwayne Bravo grabbed 4 wickets as the Windies defeated Sri Lanka by 23 runs to draw their 2-match 2020 international series in Colombo. The victory for the regional cricketers ensured that they finished their tour of Sri Lanka on a positive note after losing both the one-day international and the test series. West Indies won the toss and opted to bat, scoring 162 for 6. Johnson Charles and Danish Ramdin top scored with 34 runs each, while Bravo notched 31 as the tourists amassed a decent total.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter, that's the move for me. Stability, prosperity, we're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
Welcome back with news from the region now. St. Lucia Tourism Minister Lorne Theophilus is concerned about criminal attacks against tourists. Vendors in Castries have complained of assaults on visitors in the city, saying these incidents are hurting their bottom line. But Theophilus does not believe that crime is what is affecting the business of the vendors.
St. Lucia's tourism industry continues to be plagued with acts of violence against visitors. The most recent attack in July involved a 40-year-old Canadian man who was dragged and robbed of his personal belongings. Tourism Minister Lorne Theophilus says extreme measures need to be taken to ensure the safety of the tourists.
It's about time that we as a nation take some serious form of responsibility. All right, these incidents are abhorrent, and I think there comes a point in time where we need to take some more drastic steps so as to ensure that not just the visitors to our shores, but our citizens themselves can enjoy the ordinary comforts of life within our cities.
The vendors in the Castries market are also calling on the authorities to do something about what they claim are daily attacks on visitors, as this affects business. However, Theophilus says the vendors need to work on improving the variety of products offered to attract more tourists to the island.
On the international scene, a judge in the U.S. has sentenced a white supremacist to death for the killing of 3 people at 2 Jewish centers. 74-year-old Fraser Glenn Miller targeted the sites in Kansas last year and will be put to death by lethal injection. Johnson County District Judge Thomas Kelly Ryan said, and we quote, "Your attempt to bring hate to this community, to bring terror to this community, has failed," unquote. Miller responded to the sentence by shouting, "Heil Hitler," before he was removed from the courtroom. And finally, 14 migrants have drowned in the latest boat sinking as European Union and African leaders gather in Malta to discuss measures to stem the flow of people into Europe. 7 of those who died when a wooden boat sank between Turkey and the Greek islands of Lesbos were children. Coast Guards rescued 27 survivors. The meeting in the Maltese capital, Valletta, was planned after about 800 died in a migrant boat sinking off Libya in April. And that's where we end our Barbados Today morning news update. However, you can join us again this afternoon. Until then, remember to log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Also tune in to Channel 101 on Flow TV and to Mix 96.9 FM to get all the latest news and sports. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.